Hey y'all, it's Hans. I want to show you how small this thermal monocular is from Nocpix USA. This is the LUMI H35. We're going to be reviewing it right here. But first, if you're looking to purchase a night vision or thermal optic and you need advice, you want to talk to somebody and you've talked to your buddies and they tell you what to buy, and then you hear on YouTube, like you're watching right now, buy something else. But if you really need to break it down and talk to somebody, because that's really what it takes. There's so many options. There's so many optics, monocular scopes. Really kind of have to just sort through what's the good stuff and what's the stuff you kind of just need to avoid. You can call me directly, 877-350-1818. I work every day with a company by the name of Outdoor Legacy. It's my full-time job. So, I hunt with all this stuff. I test all of this stuff, all the optics. I obviously test everything that we sell on the website, outdoorlegacy.com. I also test a lot of stuff that never even makes it to the light of day. So you can use me as almost your thermal encyclopedia, where you can call me and we can talk about what the best optics is going to be for you in the right hunting conditions. So there's a lot of factors that go involved. I won't get into all of that right now, but I'll invite you to watch our show that will either really help you or confuse you even more. The debate is still out. The Late Night Vision Show podcast that we've done for many, many years. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere where you find podcasts. We've been doing that a long time, but that's industry news and thermal night vision optic reviews. But this is a thermal monocular that we are going to be reviewing. Nocpix USA is a fairly new name associated with a very large global manufacturer. It's under the IRA USA umbrella here in the United States. So IRA USA distributes infrared outdoor optics, and now Nocpix. So I guess you could say same team, different jersey. I don't know exactly what analogy would work best with that, but it is under the infrared outdoor banner. So you do, and I'll kind of skip forward to some of the good news, you will be getting that when you buy something Nocpix, that the IRA USA 5-year warranty with a 5 business day repair or replace guarantee. So that's one thing that is very important to people. But we're going to get into the specs. I'm going to show you some video, list of pros and cons on this thing, and really find out, is this the right optic for you? You can tell right now just by looking at it, very small, compact, and convenient. It's like remember cell phones? They started out, they were really big, and then all of a sudden they got like really micro small, and now they're starting to get big again. That's kind of maybe where we're at with monoculars. They started off pretty big. They're really starting to get small right now. You see some monoculars now that are starting to come out that are a little bit bigger again. Maybe it's that, that inverse of back and forth that we're seeing. But I do like a very small, and most people, a very small compact monocular. When I'm walking out in the field, I've got my rifle sling across my chest. I've got a backpack because I'm carrying a coyote collar. I've got my tripod in one hand, and I only have one hand free, and it's my scanner hand. Now, when I'm walking up on, let's say, a hog or a coyote, now I've got to figure out, how can I quietly set all this stuff down? How am I going to set up my tripod and not make any noise? How am I going to get my backpack off? How am I going to get my rifle on the tripod without making a bunch of noise? The first thing, though, is where am I going to stick my monocular? With this, I've got a hoodie on. You can't tell, but it slipped right in there. I like, especially in cold weather, love hoodies because I stick my monocular right in the pouch in the front or a back pocket. This is small enough even for a big guy like me. I don't have a lot of room in my pants, but I got enough to fit this. I'll tell you that, in the back pocket. So I slip it in the back pocket while I'm setting up. Very seamless, easy. When you're night hunting, you got to think about this kind of the strategy of just not just like, hey, I'm going to go shoot a coyote. What am I going to do if I'm stalking up on a coyote? Because that does happen. And out here where I'm at, I do get a chance to stalk up on some coyotes. You got to know what you're doing. Everything's got to be planned out. I'm putting my sticks down. I'm doing this. I'm putting this here. So having something compact and small really helps you with convenience and overall success with the, easy concealment or slipping this way real quick. Anyway, let's get to the specs and we'll show some video. The price, again, I'll say the title. It's the Nocpix LUMI H35. The price is $21.99. It is a 640 by 512 resolution thermal sensor. So this little bitty compact monocular it has a pretty good punch when you're talking about picture image. It is a 12 micron minus 18 NETD. I don't want to get into a big NETD debate here on this just random review. A lot of focus has been put on that, and it's like all these manufacturers are trying to, now I got a 17, now I got a 16, now it's 18. I mean, honestly, y'all, yes, if you're talking about something back several years ago that was a much, much higher NETD, then it may have a better picture image. The ones now are going to have a better picture image in worse conditions like fog. It's got a more sensitive sensor. It's going to pull that image through. Now, if we're fighting over 1 or 2 degrees, I mean, I would not put I wouldn't rest my decision on an optic on NETD solely. There's a lot of other factors that go involved, but it is that they say a minus 18 NETD rating. We need to start pumping the brakes on that a little bit. We need to calm that down just a little bit as far as the overall importance, because I think a lot of people are hanging too much weight on that one spec. 50 hertz refresh rate. It's a 2.5 to 20 power optic, so it starts at 2.5 power. I think anything 2 to 2.5 power is an appropriate base magnification for a scanner. With a scanner, field of view is very important. This has a 66 feet field of view, 66 feet at 100-yard field of view. When you get into, guys that might want a 3 or even more, I think are guys that are really hunting in really, really wide open fields, spaces, not any like small fields or woods or anything like that. A 2 or 2.5 power is going to be better. So I prefer 2, 2.5. I mean, any more than that to me is a little bit too much. You get an effect of where it's very narrow field of view, like you're looking through a paper towel roll. But this does have a very generous field of view at 66 feet at 100 yards. It's got a detection range of 1,750 yards. What does that mean? That doesn't mean you're going to see a coyote and know it's a coyote at 1,800 yards. What that means is the way they measure it, you're going to be able to see a human-sized target, and it is going to read the signature of a human-sized 6-foot-tall target at 1,800 yards. But more importantly, what is the ID range? And the ID range with this, I would say on a standard coyote, which can be a smaller animal depending on if you're hunting hogs or deer, but it's going to be about 400 to 500 yards. That's pretty standard for a 640 resolution optic, but very good quality. I know you're seeing the videos, very good picture clarity and quality out of this. It's a very good quality. You can tell it's got a really good sensor on it because of the clarity that you see. Video and audio recording, Wi-Fi to an app, 7 different color palettes, more color palettes than I would ever use, but it's in there. And if you like it, that's awesome. But I mean, the most popular are going to be white hot and black hot. Display resolution, I want to talk about this. Not necessarily the display resolution, but display size. The resolution is a 1024 by 768. It does seem like it has a very big viewfinder screen inside that eye box, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. It runs on a flat top 18650 battery. There's 2 different types of rechargeable 18650 batteries. There's a flat top and a button top. This runs on the flat top. Get about 4 hours of runtime with each battery. It does come with 2 batteries. The operating temperature, -4 degrees up to 122 degrees. It is tripod compatible. It does have a little post spot that you can, swivel this or screw it onto a tripod. So a lot of people ask that, and it does. You can stick it on really any tripod. It does come with a lanyard and a hand strap. I don't have it on that just because I'm just testing it, and really I don't really hang it anywhere. If it's not in my hand, it's in my pocket. So, but a lot of people like to put them on lanyards. It does have that and hand strap. Weighs 12 ounces, very small, very lightweight, obviously. And obviously it does come with the iRay USA 5-year warranty, 5 business day repair guarantee, so under $2,200. There's some competition in that price range for some 640 resolution monoculars. I think this does really well. I think this might be one of, not the lowest price 640, but on the lower end of the price scale as far as 640 monoculars. Picture image is phenomenal, and let's just jump right into the pros. The picture image is great. It really is. It does seem like it has the picture quality of something more expensive than $2,200. There's a lot of you out there, understandably, that it's like $2,200 is a lot of money just to see at night through that little thing. And you're right, but something like this of good quality can be very valuable, especially for a lot of you serious night hunters. If you're just getting into it for the first time, and you're just still trying to figure out night hunting is going to be a sport or a hobby that you want to get into, there's nothing wrong. And I completely understand wanting to go with some lower price optics. I don't blame you. I would probably do the same thing when, when my buddies, tried to talk me into playing golf and getting into golf. I reluctantly did so, and I didn't go invest in the most expensive clubs that I could get. I went to Walmart and picked out a set of golf clubs because I didn't know if this was something that I was going to do. It's kind of good that I did because I didn't turn out to be a huge golf fan. So I understand if you want to start out small or start out in a smaller budget, I completely understand. So that doesn't mean you need to go out and blow $2,200 on a monocular, one of the nicest on the market. But I will say, if this is something you're serious, if you are a serious night hunter, if you do this a lot, people say a 640 resolution worth the money. Yes, 640 resolution is worth the money as long as it's in your budget and as long as it's something you're going to be using a lot. If you're using a monocular 2 times a year, unless you really want 640 resolution, it may not be worth the money. And I make a living selling thermal optics, so saying some of this stuff probably goes against what a lot of business people would say is the right thing to do. But this is my honest opinion. Not everybody needs the nicest equipment. You don't even have to have 640 resolution to be successful hunting at night. Now, what I do think you gain out of having a high quality monocular, and what I notice looking through a 640 versus a 384, when I use a 384 for very long, my eye gets very strained. I get a lot of eye fatigue, sometimes headaches, because it's not a crisp, clear image. If you're behind a monocular for several hours a night, several times a week, several times a month, something with a higher resolution, a higher picture quality is going to be easier on your eye, less eye fatigue, less eye strain. It's just going to be more comfortable, a more enjoyable experience. So keep that in mind. And again, I'm throwing a lot of things at you, and you can call me and I would love to help you out, because that's what we do before somebody decides to buy an optic from us. We consult with them. We're probably more consultants than anything. But yes, 640 is worth the money with some considerations. So give that some thought. I think I was in the middle of doing the pros. The picture image is phenomenal. It's very, very good for the price. I do have other favorite thermal monoculars. This one is one of my favorites as well. It's been on my desk right here. If I got something out in the yard, a lot of times I'm grabbing this one first because it's so easy and small and compact. It's just easy to grab. I would say the big thing I noticed too was the size. You can't really see, it's not turned on. The size of the display screen in there. A lot of times with compact monoculars, you look through it, you feel like the screen's really small. This one, you look through it and it like fills almost the entire eye box. Again, better viewing experience, easier on the eye, less eye fatigue, and less eye strain. So there's a reason for that, and the reason for making that even larger. So I talked about it. I'm not going to say it again. It's very small, super small, very compact. I would say fairly priced at $2,200 compared to some of the other monoculars. Again, I think there's some other good competition on the market. I think there's a lot of companies that are making good monoculars. This is fairly priced, and it's on the lower end, I would say, of the scale for some 640 resolution monoculars. So, everybody wants lower prices, and I was talking to somebody earlier. Everybody wants lower prices, but we don't want to sacrifice quality for price. Now, you may say, yeah, I want the lowest price, but nobody has ever called me and said, what is the cheapest optic you got? I've never had that call. But almost everybody calls and says, what is the best optic for the money? That means you don't want cheap, you want quality, and you want fair. You're not expecting cheap with cheap. You're expecting a fair price with a quality product. So a lot of you out there do understand that and are very understanding of that as well. So a great warranty. And again, 18650 batteries. I'll run it down real quick. The image, the large display screen, very small, fairly priced, great warranty, 18650 batteries. Love that. The one con, there's really only one, to be honest. It's a monocular, y'all. So it's not overcomplicated. It's not like your scope, like, it's too hard to sight in or figure out how to get the reticle on. I mean, you're taking it off you're turning it on and taking it off. That's about it. So the lens cap, I don't have much pull with the manufacturers. I do speak with them regularly, but whether they take some of my recommendations, I do think some do. But I do like a cap that just stays on, it's just like a plastic cap with a hinge where it just stays there. This one just kind of dangles there. Now, and for those that have it, I know what you're going to say, and this is cool. It's got a magnet. But when I'm one-handed when I'm doing this. So imagine I'm walking out in the field, I got my tripod, I'm getting this lens cap off with my teeth. I'm basically just prying it off. And then I don't have another hand to get this to stick on here. So I'm walking around like this and this thing's dangling. So I have to use another hand to raise that up. This is very small and minute, and this is not a negative, but I've got to pick out something. That's one. If you're asking me, Hans, what would you change? I would make it a connected lens cap cover with a hinge, not one of these dangle dally things like this. Not a huge fan of that. Other than that, it's a great buy. It's a great optic. This review has gone on way too long. I'm sorry, y'all. But I get off on rabbit trails, which is exactly why if you go watch the late night vision show, expect a lot of that kind of talk as well. Let me show you this thing. Super easy, not complicated. Eyepiece diopter focus here. You've got your objective lens focus here. I told you about the tripod port right there. I don't know if that's what they call it, port, whatever they call it. You got your USB-C plug outlet there. It does come with, well, I mean, look at this. Look how small the box is. I mean, it's a small box too. So it comes with a charging base, so you can charge the 18650 batteries. I told you about the lanyard, the hand strap, a very small travel bag. I would pull all this out, but you have to have an engineer degree once you get this stuff out of the box on how to properly put it back in the box. So I hate pulling out stuff if I don't have to. So I figured I'd just tell you 2 batteries, lanyard, hand strap, bag, charging base, USB-C cord, everything you need. This is great, man. I love this. And I do think when we do our best of shows, best of thermal binoculars, 640 binoculars, this is going to be definitely in contention. No doubt about it. I'm a huge fan of this. And I would love to talk to you about it if you're interested. So watch the Late Night Vision Show. You can find it at thelatenightvisionshow.com, and continue to watch the Hans ETX YouTube channel. You're going to get more rambling reviews, sometimes a little bit of nuggets, a few nuggets of wisdom every now and then. But we show a lot of video, and I look through all this stuff. And this is my main job. This is my full-time job, my only job. And so it's reviews, talking to people on the phone, hunting, all that kind of stuff, all that fun stuff. But I'm here for you. I'm here to talk to you about it. And we would love to earn your business at Outdoor Legacy. So 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacy.com. We will see y'all soon. Y'all take care.